It's 10:45, so we're going to go ahead and get started. My name is Sierra Cohen.
My name is Ashley Simier.
My name is Heavenly Wood. You're muted, Wamik.
Hi, everyone. My name is Wamik Sadie.
And we are second-year medical students at the Tillman J. Fertitta Family College of Medicine at the University of Houston. We're going to be presenting today on our summer program STEM Rise, which involved engaging underrepresented youth in STEM career pathways.
So I'll start off by reading the abstract. So the STEM Rise program allowed for students from underserved neighborhoods, high school, to engage with STEM careers path at all levels. Students were taught core scientific principles by University of Houston's Teach Houston faculty in training, taught foundations of medical practices, educated on STEM career pathways, and fully immersed in a biomedical research lab with undergraduates and medical students. Student outcomes were twofold. They presented on the STEM career pathway that most interested them, complete with an educational plan and future income potential. Secondly, students presented their contributions to the biomedical research lab, highlighting their understanding of the project and additional findings. So pictured here is the boundary map of Houston, which shows various communities as well as poverty information and helps emphasize the need. With Jack Yates being the predominant high school in the area, the University of Houston was able to partner up with them and help address the need within the community. The University of Houston is located within the Third Ward community, and it's important to showcase its accessibility to underrepresented minority students, especially those who are first generation and may be intimidated about their ability or even their acceptance into higher education. It is important to have outreach programs provide information and give the students the opportunity to see themselves in STEM careers. By providing accessibility, mentorship, and continued resources, we are attempting to bridge the gap of the underrepresented groups in STEM careers. I would also like to highlight that the founders of this program, the faculty, teachers, medical students, undergraduates, and high school students were predominantly women throughout the program.
So I'm going to go into a little bit of the logistics about the program. So here's an example of the daily schedule, which began with breakfast, and then students would spend the morning with undergraduate teaching fellows doing lessons on basic science foundations, college education, careers, and goal setting. Then after lunch in the afternoon, they would join the medical students and undergraduate research fellows for hands-on lab experience, practice reading scientific papers, exploring the anatomy lab, and then learning anatomy and physiology related to their assigned research projects. So it was a very integrated experience throughout, and we all worked really hard together. You can see on Fridays, we actually didn't have the students present, and it was just the undergraduates and medical students and the PhDs involved in the program collaborating with each other and talking about how we could further integrate their learning and help each other give the students the best experience possible and ensure that they were actually understanding and gaining insight and information in everything that they were doing. So here's the overall structure. There were three components. The first was Teach Houston, which is I'm going to talk a little bit more about, but they provided foundational sciences and success planning for the students. The medical student mentors focused on anatomy, physiology, and clinical skills, in addition to helping with the biomedical research project alongside the undergraduate research fellows. And there were three groups, one on splenic innervation, one on hypertension, and another on breast cancer. And they were in actual labs at the University of Houston doing this research. So the first part was Teach Houston. So the Teach Houston program at the University of Houston is dedicated to producing outstanding high school STEM teachers. The teaching team worked with the medical students to craft a schedule of lessons that aligned with the lab work that the high school students would be engaged in to ensure that they got the most out of the experience. So I have an example of the list of lessons that they had over here. You can see they learned about first lab safety, and then they went into things like mitosis. They learned about the spleen, all about the nervous system. And so they were really teaching them in the morning to set them up for success in the lab in the afternoon. Here's just a couple of examples of slides that were presented to the high school students in the morning. And you can see that they were teaching them the true foundations of the science that they would be doing in the lab. Additionally, students were exposed to lessons on what STEM looks like in college and how to apply for college and financial aid. Each student created their own project on their desired career in STEM, where they researched the college and technical requirements, school options that they might be interested in, their future salaries, and options within their desired field. This allowed them to take everything that they learned about planning their success and execute it in a way that was personally relevant to them. And here's just some wonderful photos of our summer. These are the Teach Houston program working with our students from Jack Yates High School.
Okay, so integrated part 2 is the medical student mentors. The first year medical students from Tillman and Jay for Teaching Family College of Medicine conducted research in the UH STEM lab. Medical students focused on instruction, leadership, research, planning, and critical thinking skills. The medical students were also responsible for mentoring, incorporating the undergraduate STEM students, and the undergraduates were also responsible for mentoring the high school students. So it was kind of like a joint project. The high school students and undergraduates were assigned to medical students on different research projects and teams, so hypertension, cancer, spleen, et cetera, as Ashley said earlier. And this is an example of one of the team sizes. So we have like 4 students, 2 undergraduates, 1 teacher. So it was a fairly robust team. Could someone mute their mic? We can hear you. Lab safety and protocol. So this is a list of things that we worked on together in detail. So we did lab safety and protocol before they were even able to come into the lab. So that's why you see them with their lab coats or their safety goggles and just how to behave in a lab. Equipment exposure and training. So they got to learn how to use the microscopes. Increasing exposure to different STEM fields. So we had multiple professions working together, right? The teachers in STEM, the undergraduates in STEM, the PhD holders, doctors from Dr. Ramiro and Ortega and Maria were in charge of the lab. Research skills, defining interests and iterating the importance of networking, because you can't do it alone. Developing a thorough college and career path, and character and team development. So learning to work with people from different backgrounds and communication and how to compromise and just come together. This is a picture of them in the lab, the students in the lab. So they got to learn how to do certain parts of physical examination. They also got to see the anatomy lab. They had permission to see the human body anatomy lab. So they got to see the heart, spleen, liver, and the body parts that were specific to their part of the project.
Okay. And then integrated part 3, the biomedical research. We already talked about the 3 projects that the students were engaged in. So the students were taught fundamental lab safety and skills like keeping a lab notebook. We were very strict about their lab notebooks. We ensured that they had the proper procedures written down. We taught them what does a proper procedure look like. They also kept diagrams, very intricate. We have pictures of those later. They were also taught tissue staining methods, which you can see in the top picture up here. We were teaching them how to stain tissue from mice models. They were taught microscopy, which you can see in a photograph down here. Immunohistochemistry, they were taught the foundations of it, how it works. These students were amazing. They actually truly understood what was going on and what they were looking at as they moved from the staining methods to the microscope, because we taught them the foundations of immunohistochemistry, and they were so excited to learn that they truly comprehended what we were looking at under that microscope. They also were taught image analysis, cell culture, and the importance of the use of mice models in biomedical research. So here are some photos. Up here we have an image of our board teaching them immunohistochemistry. They were taking very thorough notes the entire time, asking questions. These students were truly engaged and very excited to be there. And then some pictures of them doing staining, using the microscopes, and a lovely photo of our team and some of the coordinators with a news anchor that came to feature these wonderful students.
Okay, so when we're looking at some of the outcomes that happened here, this is us. At the very end, there was a big symposium where all the students came and gave a presentation on what they learned. So if you go to the next slide, all right, and this is more from that, and we have an example of like some of the diagrams they were drawing of the hearts that we saw, and went to the anatomy lab and the anatomy, and we broke it down like, for example, with hypertension, like what's going on with the arteries, what's being built up. So they have a detailed understanding of what's going on, like actual hard science, and they understood it. And then here on the bottom, we have their presentations. So they're able to improve on their presentation skills, like something that they'll carry with them, regardless of whatever profession they decide to go on in the future. Could you go to the next slide? And this is more from that. This is them giving a presentation on what a future job would look like in the career that they're interested in. They kind of talked about what they would need to get to that point, kind of helping like establish a map to get to that point.
And we like to emphasize they presented this in front of College of Medicine faculty, their families, community members, teachers from their school. I mean, there were probably over 100 people at this symposium, and these students really stood up and talked in front of a room full of people about what they learned over the summer. So that's just a testament to the strength that they were and the confidence they were able to gain through the program.
And then aside from like the obvious hard science that they were learning and the clinical laboratory skills, we helped them with their college application process, kind of like picking out what schools and what fields they're interested in. And on top of that, it's to establish a continued relationship with Jack Yates High School. It would have been much easy for us just to look a one-off, 1 year, help them for a little bit and leave. But to be actually involved in the community and take some time with them and be with them this is a relationship that we hope to have for many, many years to come. And establishing that was very important, and making sure that it went well smoothly the first time, that kids would want to come back next year or have new kids, like tell their friends, hey, this is really cool. And which just goes back into expanding their network, because even if they decide not to go into STEM, which we really, really hope they do, because science and STEM really needs these perspectives, if they decide not to in the future, they'll have like family or relatives or friends that maybe they're interested in STEM, like, oh, hey, I'm thinking about this. And they could say, oh, I know somebody who did that. Let me link you to them. Let me have you talk to them, and just it's growing their network so they'll be able to help more people. And obviously their exposure to college and medical level sciences and these mentors that they gained, like some of the students, they got an interview, like faculty within the University of Houston and doctors. So they got to see people that were actually in the field that they were interested in and talk with them, see what that looked like. And just seeing people that look like you and doing things that you're interested in a world that you never knew existed, can go a long way. Because I know growing up for me, I wish I had somebody that kind of could show me the ropes and I could see them doing something in a field that I was interested in. Okay, so and these are some important links that we have, more about the program, us being featured in the media, and a little history about Third Ward, if you guys want to take a look. And yeah.
And then here's all of our contact information. We do have a couple minutes left for questions, about 8 minutes, and we would love to answer them, but we know that that's probably not quite enough time. So if you're interested in integrating anything like this into your own programs, or looking for partnerships, we are all more than happy to answer your questions. We also included the contact information of the program director, Dr. Manuel. So does anyone have any questions?
You want to check the chat to make sure?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, how can supply? Here.
Oh, yeah. So we can actually put the link in the chat. So there's, just so you can see what it looks like. There's, if you go to STEMrise University of Houston, let me find it.
It's on the links page.
It's
more about STEMrise.
Oh, yeah, it is. So I'll put this link in here though, just so that we have it. So that's what it looks like. There's a link for students to put in an interest form at the bottom, and then also places for undergraduate majors, medical students, and the high school students to apply. There's another question, but I'm not sure.
There's a hand up.
Oh, Dr. Steele?
No, it's a mistake. Great job, everyone. I don't have a question.
Oh, thank you. Dr. Manuel.
Yeah. Hey, everyone. Great job. We are so proud of all of our STEMRISE scholars and our medical students here who served as excellent mentors to the undergrads and the high school students. I just want to go back to the question about how students apply. So we do have the interest form on the website. We have sort of different application like times for undergrads, medical, and high school students, and we recruit the high school students directly through the school by visiting the school and visiting the classroom. So I just wanted to add a little more clarity on that question. But great job. Thank you.
Also, something that I feel like is important about the application process is that something that was emphasized to us a lot is that we didn't that during the application process, the coordinators, they weren't necessarily looking for like the straight A students who were like super involved in extracurriculars, your obvious people who are on track to be like the top of their class and go to the best colleges. We were just looking for anyone who was interested in gaining some perspective and getting a good experience, because we really wanted this to be an opportunity to help people who didn't have other opportunities. Okay, well, if there are no more questions, you have our contact information. I really encourage anyone. Students from Houston area high schools are not eligible. I'm gonna have to defer that question to Dr. Manuel.
Yeah, so currently our partnership is with Jack Yates High School in 3rd Ward. That's how the STEMRISE program was formed. And so at the moment we are recruiting specifically from that high school. It's the only public high school in the 3rd Ward area. Eventually we have plans and aspirations to expand this experience to include other area high schools in Houston and greater Houston area as well. At the moment, however, we are working with Jack Yates High School.
And that's something we hope that this presentation can do, is kind of motivate other people to get involved in starting this kind of program or even expanding the current program that we have, so that more students can be privy to this kind of experience. So please feel free to reach out if you have any questions about implementing this into any aspect of this program into your own programs, or if you would be at all interested in trying to help us with our efforts. Thank you so much.